Hello everyone, I'm Kat from the Littlestown Library of the Adams County Library System, and welcome to today's Tiny Art for Adults and Teens. February is Humpback Whale Awareness Month, so we are going to do a themed painting about humpback whales. I love humpbacks. So that is the design that we are going to do today. If you signed up for an art kit, then you will receive the following. One blank 4x4 canvas, a tiny easel, a paintbrush, a stencil that we will be using for the painting, and 5 paint pots with the following colors: white, dark purple, light purple, dark blue, and light blue. So that is what you will receive if you signed up for an art kit. You are welcome to follow along. If you have your own supplies at home, feel free to use those instead, or as well. For example, if you have more paintbrushes at home that you want to use for some of the finer detail work, feel free to use those. I also recommend that before you get started that you get some paper towels or newspaper to lay down so you don't get paint everywhere, as well as having an additional paper towel to clean your brush. I recommend having a cup or some kind of container to hold water so you can clean your brush between colors. If you have a paint palette, an actual paint palette, you can get these from the dollar store, or you can use a paper plate or a plastic lid that doesn't go to anything. That works just as well if you need to mix any colors, or if you'd like to dump them out of your paint pots, you can do that as well. I also recommend that you have scissors and possibly a pencil, depending on how you want to transfer the stencil. There's a couple different ways that we will explore. So, with no further ado, let's get painting. Alrighty, so the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to lay our canvas down flat for most of this, because there's going to be a couple different options for putting this design onto the canvas. One way that you can do that is if you turn it over and then use a pencil to just cover the back in the pencil lead, and then you could turn it back over and trace it. You know, trace the whales, you know, and all of that. You could do that, and then the pressure of the tracing would transfer onto the canvas. However, since the heart's going to be its own color, I don't really want to do that because I don't want to get a whole bunch of pencil lead on the canvas, because then we have to erase it and it gets kind of messy. So it's one option, but what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn this over and I'm going to lay it flat on the canvas where I want it to be, and then what we're going to do is we're basically going to paint over it and then peel it up so it'll leave a negative space where the heart and the whales will go against the background, and then we'll paint those in afterwards. So that's my game plan for how I'm going to do that. If you want to just cut it like into pieces, if you want to cut all the pieces out, lay it down, and trace them, you can do that as well. There's multiple ways of getting where we need to go, and we're not going to do like all the detail on the whales. It's not going to be quite as detailed as this looks. It's going to be a little bit simpler, just because we don't have a whole bunch of different tools to work with. So, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over and then start painting. So I'm going to go ahead and flip over my design, my stencil here. Gonna put that down, and if you need like a little piece of tape or something to keep the stencil from moving around, you can certainly do that. I'm just gonna press it down and do like that, and hopefully it will work out for me. So what I'm gonna do first is we are going to put a little bit of white across the very top. If you want to just do like a few dabs, and then rinse your brush, and we'll get a scoop of the light purple. Let's go across the top like that, because the water, the purple ocean that we're doing, it'll be like regular ocean, you know, it'll be lighter at the top where the light comes in, and then it will be darker down at the bottom. So go ahead and just go across like that. Make sure you get the edges of your canvas as well. And then we're gonna get some more purple, just regular light purple. Put that down there. And I'm gonna kind of go like this to blend it. Clean my brush again. There's gonna be a lot of cleaning between colors, and if your brush is a little bit damp, that's totally fine, because that will allow the colors to blend a little bit more. So I'm gonna gather some more white and kind of blend that down just to make it a little bit more gradual. Some more white up top to lighten it, because we want to go gradually from light to dark. Okay, there we go. And you see now the paint is kind of holding it down a little bit, and I see on my camera it might look more blue, like, or a darker purple than it actually is, but I am using white and the light purple at this point. So just so you know, that's just the way the lighting's kind of working out. I apologize for that. And then I'm gonna get some more of the light purple and bring that down here. Again, making sure you get the edges of your canvas. And I'm bringing it down just below the whale's flukes there. They're flippers, called flukes when they're on a whale. And I'm going to bring it across here, but we are going to include the darker purple now. So go ahead and clean your brush, get the dark purple, and we're going to put the dark purple down on the bottom here, and then we will blend that upwards into the light purple. And the reason we're using the purple instead of the blue for the for like the ocean background is because purple is the color for February. Amethyst is the birthstone for February, and plus it's like, you know, doing an ocean that's blue is kind of like, yeah, no duh, that's sort of the way that the ocean looks. So just doing something a little bit different, a little bit more fancier, a little bit more artistic. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a little bit of the light purple and just kind of do a little bit more there. And dark purple down on the bottom here. So we have a nice gradient from a lighter purple to a darker purple. So that's what we're doing there. And as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and peel up. And as you can see, there is a pretty decent outline there for the, I know it looks a little odd, but that's because it doesn't differentiate, you know, between the whales and the heart right now. We're just seeing the outlines. And you can see that I did get a little bit of paint underneath it. So there's a little bit there that shouldn't be there, but that's okay because we can just paint over that when we're doing the other part. So I'm not particularly concerned about that. So yeah, if you see anything like that, don't worry about it. We can always paint over if it's bled underneath of the heart there, of the stencil. If it bled under the stencil, no big deal. We can fix that. You see it did it up here as well. Again, that's not a big deal. We can easily fix that. So now we're going to go ahead and let that dry. We will want it to dry completely so that way it won't bleed into the other colors. And we'll also want your stencil, because you can see the back of my stencil has paint on it. We want that to dry completely as well, because next I am going to cut parts out of it. So that way I can place those down and cover up other parts, like cover up the whale sections while we paint the heart, and then we'll take the whales off and we will have the final piece for that. So go ahead and let that dry. Depending on how much paint you put on there, probably 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will be back for the next section. Okay, so now that that has dried and you have cut out your whales, see, aren't they so cute, little whales? So we're gonna go ahead and once again turn them over and place them roughly in the spot where they were when they were part of the whole thing. Oops, sorry, my hand's in the way. And so we're just going to go ahead and set them in like that, okay? So that way they will cover up, for the most part, the parts where the whales will go. So again, it's not going to be exact, and we can always do touch-ups. That's not a big deal. So what we're going to do is, so you see how the, you know, we went from light to dark when we were doing the purple ocean there. Well, we're going to reverse it for the heart inside. We're going to go dark up here and then light down towards the bottom. So so it's actually going to be a bit of a reversal from what we previously did. So what you're going to do is going to make sure your brush is clean and get a little of the dark blue, and I'm going to press down on my whale here, and I'm going to go across right up here. So this I'll have to pay a little bit more attention to, because I'm not just sweeping across. I have to try to keep the heart within its lines, but I can go over the whale on this side. So I'm just gonna do this top part with the dark blue. So just kind of like across where the tip of the tail is. And I'm gonna let that one go. Gonna clean my brush and get some more dark blue, and then do the other side. Whoops, see, my whale's moving all over the place here. So I'm gonna go ahead and here. And like I said, we can always touch this up. This is not, if it doesn't go exactly the way you want it, like it's fine. We can do touch-ups. It's not a big deal. I know this is a little bit more detailed than some of the other stencils we've done. It's got a couple more parts to it. So, gonna do that right across the whale's tail. Do that right across the whale's tail. Alrighty, and then gonna clean my brush and get some of the light blue, and gonna go down a little bit and then go across here. Okay, so we'll go across here. And this will be a little bit wider because this will merge into both the dark blue above and the light blue below. So we will, whoops, went a little bit high, but that's okay, because again, we can just merge that. Alrighty, there we go. And clean my brush and get some of the dark blue here, and we are going to do some merging. So you see how that merges into the blue below. Once again, going over the whale's tail. You may have to get some more dark blue in order to make the merge a little bit smoother. But hopefully you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing here. I'm going to get a little bit more of the dark blue, and I'm going to do a little bit more aggressive of a merge here. There we go. Okay. So you can see where that is, and now I'm gonna get some more of the light blue. I'm gonna kind of go down here a little more, where the whale's bellies are. And then we're gonna clean our brush again, and we're going to get white. oops, not so much because it is. Woo! There moved my whale. And there you go. You see it's going the opposite way. And then we can take off our whales. And you see, like, that's not bad. Like, we have a couple spots that kind of overlapped a bit, but again, we can totally get those fixed. That is not a problem. I am going to, since the whales themselves are going to be white, I am going to, and you can see I kind of went over a little bit here. I'm going to do a little bit more of the light blue in here, just so that way it's a little bit more obviously blue as opposed to white. There we go. Alrighty, so I've got that part there. And you can see that I did go outside the lines a little bit here, and I'm going to just use my wet brush to kind of tidy that up a little bit. Tidy up the edges there. Tidy up the edges there. And I'm actually going to get a little bit of the light purple again, just on the very edge of my brush, just the very, very tip. And you see how like this fluke kind of stands out a little bit more? I'm going to do the same here with this fluke. So I'm just going to pull that edge in just a little bit. And they don't quite match, as you can see, but again, I can always tidy that up with a little bit of white once it dries. So there we go. So we are going to go ahead and let that dry. And I do think I'm gonna, before I do that, I'm gonna just go ahead and close up the edge. There. Alrighty, there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry completely, and then we'll come back with just plain white for the whales. And if you turn them over, like you can see the details, like you can see like where their eye is and everything. We will be adding an eye, but I don't think I'm going to put any more detail other than that. If you happen to have detail brushes, you could add more details if you wanted, but I'm not going to be doing that with these because I did not provide you folks with detail brushes, and so I'm not going to make it so that we would need that. So go ahead and let that dry again for about 5-10 minutes, again depending on how much paint you have on there, and then we'll be back for the whales. Okay. Okay, so once that is completely dry, we're going to go ahead and make sure that our brush is clean, and then we are going to get white. So I know it seems a little bit counterintuitive to put like white on a white canvas, but for one, we're going to touch everything up, and for another, having the paint on there actually changes the texture, so that way it'll match the texture of the rest of the painting, so that way it won't look weird. It won't look like you forgot to finish painting partway through. It'll look deliberate. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this part here. I'm just doing the bottom part here, and you can drag like the edge of your brush nice and slow to get a smooth curve. And if you paint over like any of the blue or any of the darker paint, that's fine. We just might need to go back and do another coat in order for it to work properly. So like you see, that kind of changes the color a bit, and I'm going to finish out the fluke here by turning my tail flukes, by turning that on the edge. And you see how much smoother and more deliberate that looks. So then we're going to get the side flukes here, using again the side of my brush and just pulling gently. And there we go. We have a nice healthy weight humpback whale there on that side. So again, like I said, some of these parts we might need to touch up a little bit, but like this here has turned out really nicely. So then we're going to go on to this other one here. Oops, let me get the edge right there. There we go. There we go. That looks a little less odd now. You'll notice that these are much smoother and have less detail than the original stencils. That's deliberate because, again, we don't have detail brushes here. And again, if you have detail brushes, you are welcome to make this far more detailed if you would like. However, I am not expecting that of you. That seems like that would be a lot to ask, given the materials that I've given you to work with. So, if you want to go back and add more detail later, you certainly can if you would like. So now I'm going to clean my brush again and get a fresh batch of white paint here. And then I'm going to do a nice smooth curve here, smooth out the edges there. And fluke. And once again, if you get white anywhere you don't want it, then we can always go back and tidy that up with some of the other colors. Like up here, I might go ahead and tidy that up a little bit with some blue along the edge. But for right now, I just wanted to make sure I got the white in. Okay, so that way it stands out. Edges nice and smooth. There we go. Look at that. That looks beautiful. Alrighty. And then if you want to give your whales eyes, then turn your brush around and use the other side of it rather than the brush portion. Use the handle portion. Just dip it in the dark blue, and then go ahead and put an eye and an eye. So, and then don't forget to actually clean off your brush afterwards, because otherwise you might end up sticking yourself with some dark blue paint. Which, I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine, but that's generally not what we're looking to do. So now I'm just going to go ahead and tidy up a little bit along the edge here with some of the dark blue. Because there's a couple spots that I'm just like, I want to tidy that up just a little bit. There we go. All right. And I think that about does it. Yeah, no, I think that looks quite nice. And I think that actually does it. Because yeah, we've got our heart, we've got our kind of ocean sort of background there, and we have our whales for Humpback Whale Awareness Month. So yeah, so there we go. Thank you folks so much for joining us for this tiny art for adults and teens, and we hope to see you in the next one.